My name is Ben Ospital, and I'm a partner here at Modern Appealing Clothing. We're also called MAC. I'm in business with my sister.
Hi, my name is Chris Ospital. We really specialize in small brands, designers from near and far. We work with people in our own backyard because we love our backyard. San Francisco and the Bay Area is a great place to be in business and live. This is our 35th year, hard to believe. We opened in 1980.
My mom's part of the business too. She's retired now, but one of the great things that we feel is that it's like having a second family in a way, because you care a lot about the garments. More than anything, you know the people behind them. In many cases, we know the names of the production people.
It's been a super fun ride. It's been super fun to kind of grow with our designers and our clients.
So I can't imagine them not being a part of my life. I have never been to China before.
No, I've never been to China before, and I've been incredibly curious about it.
We are going to Yiwu.
It's supposed to be one of the biggest commodities market in the world. I think they make everything.
It's a bit like opening up a Christmas present. I'm sure that there's some beautiful wrapping, but more than anything, we'd love to discover the things that are inside.
Just the mere fact that so many giant American companies did so much giant production in China. So yes, the perception has been that it's made for less than what you should be paying.
People may not think of a luxury good coming from that country, but it's time to smash those walls. I think it's much more about the process, and in every aspect, what is the respect to it, and what is the respect to the people and the communities that are a part of it.
When we go on buying trips, we do go together because it's so much easier to have a pal there and to have a second voice.
We've been doing this for so long. You know, we could go on those solo trips. So we have, for emergency purposes.
We've kind of picked the same things.
But we would pick the same things. We do this together. This is a partnership.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. We're so excited about the trip. In fact, let's go.
All right.
All right. Hi there, I'm Chris Ospital, and I'm here with my brother visiting Yiwu City, and we came in yesterday, and we got, first of all, a great tour from the top of this tall building to look over the whole city on the 33rd floor.
You saw all the cranes, and you saw all the emerging growth.
It's quite a large city. It's 1.2 million people.
And it spans over 400 square miles. The other thing, which I think is interesting to note, is that Yiwu is the largest small commodity market in the world.
Then we tooled around in a car and getting the flavor of the landscape, and found a fashion show being held for kids. Kids doing supermodel.
And there was a sweetness there, but I couldn't help to feel like those kids were all influenced from something that's bigger, that's something that's a part of the world that you know, whether it's supermodels and fashion and all those things that we all know and learn from TV.
So that was super fun. It made it seem just like a great neighborhood moment. Even though we're in a city far away, it was one of those magical moments. You just happened at the right place at the right time. We're here today at the Guangyuan market.
When we first walked into the first floor, there was like intimate things, and there was pant bottoms.
Bit of sportswear. I mean, the floor is packed. Every stall is brimming with eye candy. There's so many things.
I was just struck by all the colors and the prints. It was a kaleidoscope. I grew up going to flea markets. This was like a flea market times 2,000. But the most fun thing was watching the hustle and bustle.
We found our mother a beautiful jacket that reminded us of jackets that she always loves in Chinatown in San Francisco.
I think Mom would really like this, don't you?
No, she would. You know, I think
totally. And it's like it's warm. Plus, I think she really like. I like this one better. I think.
Well, the first purchase that we made in China was actually for our mom. And the great thing is living in San Francisco, my mom has a deep affinity to more traditional women's clothing that Chinese women wear. For our mom, who's been a part of our business, and she's on the go every day, it's kind of perfect.
Yeah, and it's a summer, winter, everything coat. I think we spent 30
Yuan, yeah.
yuan,
So I think it's about $5.
which is blowing my mind. It's
Yeah.
amazing. So we're thrilled.
Yeah.
Then we went to the second floor, which is men's. It was sort of the history of menswear. I mean, we go off into the markets in Europe, and this was the biggest market I think I've ever seen.
Men's is probably the tricky floor for me because I'm the most picky. But I have to tell you that there were t-shirts, there were jeans, there were suits. Every color combination known to man was there. And the great thing is out of all of the choices, and I'm a man who has a lot of clothes, I hunkered down and was able to find gifts for my partner and myself, a floor-length caftan. I mean, it really is representative of world culture in the men's department. There we go. Oh, perfect. Yeah, this is good.
Right.
Perfect. Yeah. This is more of a traditional jalaba or kaftan. It definitely has the look of the things that are about who we are in California. We always say we want the waistband-free lifestyle. So this is kind of perfect. This is the first purchase of something that has not been made for me, but it's great because it's very comfortable. And the most amazing thing about it is that it's $8. It's incredible.
And then we went to the third floor, which is women's, which was unbelievably, like, so much like the history of women's clothing.
It was livelier.
You could go high and low and dressy and not dressy and sportswear and sleepwear and kind of everything. But we found some sportswear jackets. It's a beautiful, super soft corduroy hand.
Oh.
These are great.
Yeah.
Oh, this is fabulous.
Yeah.
What a good
Talk
thing.
about
What a good
good
thing.
coat. Yeah. Oh, wow.
Feels great. Yeah. It feels
You know
like,
you could wear that right now.
I know. It's like delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really soft. Yeah, I think I'd like it. I think I want it. It's my kind of color. And I felt it. It's super soft. It's a perfect San Francisco dog walker jacket. It was 100 yuan. It's $13, which is crazy. It's my lucky day.
After that, then we went upstairs and we went to go see the pajamas. And again, it was the same idea. I felt like we saw the history of pajamas, whether you needed to find a Mickey Mouse print or a traditional jacquard, it was all there.
So many goodies. It really is like the supreme eye candy house.
Coming to Yiwu, I realized even the bigger idea is probably if you went through your home, 90% of the things that you own and the things that you cherish probably has crossed some point of the city. So the city in some ways is, well, I think it's called part of the New Silk Road, But I think the importance is that it's this great confluence.
So far, it's been really exciting to be here. It's something I had no idea, the scope and size of it.
It's an encyclopedia. That's all there is to it.
So it's been very fun, and I look forward to tomorrow.
We had a great day today in Yiwu.
We started this morning early at New Glory Jewelry.
This palatial complex with
Factories and workplaces that are surrounded by the fountains and flowers.
one of the largest producers of jewelry, maybe in the world. They work with people like Swarovski. They have 3,000 employees, of which 2,000 of those employees live and reside in this complex. We were first given a great tour of the Museum of Historical Jewelry.
With beautiful antique clothing and jewelry.
Which was ethnic jewelry from China. For instance, the Tibetan jewelry was so lush and beautiful. It speaks to China, speaks to the colors of China.
They kind of went through every famous dynasty.
Some of the pieces that were so historic that they were from 2000 BC. Some of the jewelry that people used for warring tribes and other jewelry that was denoted for it being a sense of status.
Then we met a lot of the craftspeople and watched them work, which was such a treat because, you know, I've been to small studios and this studio was such a grand size, and everybody there, I mean, it was at a precision and amazing craftsmanship, working with silver and rubbing it.
And we were struck by one man who was filing and filling in and welding the tiny, meticulous little pieces of beads and the amount of precision to it. And again, it was something that you realize that in order to do this work is the amount of discipline that it takes to do this. And this isn't just something you throw away, that it takes 10 years to get to the point of this man who's able to do this jewelry quite efficiently and quickly, but just with the eye of the artisan. They also showed us the future. What this is a 3D printer. Here at the factory, the cool thing is that we got to see the people who
Work with
make
it
the jewelry.
and a prototype.
But I think the interesting thing is where the application. They're using the handwork and the hand know-how that comes from the other room that we're in there looking to this. You got a sense of this company that has a great reverence for the craft of the past, but going forward with this idea of modern jewelry.
There was another big room with people really putting finishing touches, people putting the stones in, and just the way, the precision of them putting the stones in was incredible.
After that, when we were able to go look in the showroom, I still think I prefer these.
Yeah, I love wood.
We selected several that were just beautiful. We sort of really loved the wood, the dark African woods with silver.
In the necklaces, we looked at necklaces that would sit higher on the throat and necklaces that longer, bracelets that would be better for smaller wrists, better for a bigger wrist. No, it can't be too big. The pieces that we chose maybe had some of that factor of going through the museum and looking at those beautiful jewelry. And then we looked at the jewelry that they made now, and it definitely referenced it. They had a sense of history, it had a sense of nature.
Oh, voila.
That's
Thing of beauty is a joy
fantastic.
forever. Oh. Wow, this is beautiful. It feels really nice.
So we just came upon this factory that makes undergarments for men and women called Bonnie. And really walking through the main room and looking at who they make for, It's kind of a who's who. It's really everybody from Marks and Spencer to Target to Donna Karan. So it's a real wide swath of people that they work with.
And when we went in, it was great to see that they do a lot. Just a lot of the underwear and leisure wear that you probably have in your own closets, and even pajamas, which we were looking for.
If we were able to find this kind of a shirt,
Yeah, that sort
the
of
body's
idea. Right.
perfect. I think what the preference would be in a more silky fabric.
Yeah, silky or
I mean,
really cottony.
Yeah,
I think
but a
cottony
broadcloth.
Yeah.
If you're wondering what becomes between you and your Calvins, it would be Yiwu, because this is where they've developed much of the underwear that is used in that product.
It'll be fun. I love going to
I know.
factories. Wow, what a good door.
That's a great
I want to
door.
have a door like this.
Oh, you and me both.
I know, it sounds perfect, right? Let's go. I'm stoked. Wow, look how big this is.
This
It's enormous.
is in operation.
That's amazing. It's
incredible.
amazing. Whoa. But what's really incredible is to go through the factory where they have these Santoni machines.
And these are machines that are sort of mythic in production in Europe, and I've never seen one.
Wow, I hope you guys can hear me. It's so incredibly loud in here. It's a humid day in the factory, but we're so impressed by this machine,
It's an
right?
amazing machine. I've never seen one.
They're really only known to be in Italy.
Yeah.
But they create what's known as a broken yarn twist.
Yeah.
And if you watch these machines quite carefully, you can see these
really-
threads flying. And if I look at the program correctly, I think
You
it's,
can read it. You can see.
what the program does is that it's able to knit the various shapes of the underwear. So what we're looking at here is this
never
is
know.
actually,
Right.
this is the crotch of the underwear, but you can
Right.
see the change out
What this has
of
done.
the needles. And this machine has programmed the knitting to happen.
It's like a Willy Wonka. It's like pooping out.
Oh, there you-
That was
They
amazing.
do it happen. And you can see
It did happen.
another one just came out.
Fresh
Right
out
out
of
the
the machine.
chute. It's
Right
incredible. These machines are state of the art.
It takes 2 minutes to rethread the machine.
If you look at all of the machines that are down the rows here,
Right.
each machine is programmed for something different. And each machine has to do a different job for every
yeah.
single garment that gets
Right.
programmed. So it's an incredible piece of technology that makes your underwear fit better.
I know.
Oh look, this one has tape over here.
Oh, that's cool.
It's all inside. You can't read it.
Not bad.
Then after that, we were able to get a tour of the thermal underwear sewing area.
To watch them do the finishing, because really hands have to do that.
The thing that struck me when we were there was the amount of precision. All of the sewers were so adept at hitting their marks. We were watching one woman sew pointel lace on ribbing, which I know that sounds technical, but that would be a nightmare to have to do. And she calmly did it so well and so precisely.
Underwear from there is going to be really comfy.
Generally, you're looking at factories that probably have a lot of lint and a lot of craziness, and this was precision and calm. Today, what really blew me away was that these factories that are making clothes that are everyday, clothes that you'll find in Target, are being made here using those same technologies that maybe you'd see in a company more on a Louis Vuitton or something.
I think it's really bridging the gap. I think what we expect to see in China sometimes is something that is not so high-end as what we saw today.
It was a really wonderful surprise to see these types of technologies used to help craft people make things. Today we got to tour the International Trade City.
We go to Building 1, which is a huge vanguard of things. We started actually at the top on the 4th floor.
The first thing that you spy is just the most beautiful arts and crafts. There was jade.
There was porcelain.
Beautiful jewelry.
We were really struck by the quality and just the exclusive design and feel that each shop had. It was basically encyclopedia of arts and crafts. Virtually all the shops are direct sales. What that means, and especially for us, it's so wonderful to be able to speak to people who know everything about the craft that they're selling and the authenticity of where it comes from and how it's made. And that in itself is an added value to anything that you would find.
We found a shop with a beautiful bisque ceramic tea set for our mother. Wow.
Are really
These are
pretty.
beautiful.
You know what I love is the bisque quality.
I do
on
too,
this.
and then this green is like such a beautiful, it's almost like a pistachio.
Yeah.
It's such a beautiful color. I think
Yeah.
Mom would love this. It was a matte bisque with a very pale green in the inside, which she loves those colors because that's her kitchen is painted that color green. And she loves drinking tea.
I can only describe the quality of, say, something you'd find like Nymphenburg. We never wait for Mother's Day or Christmas. When we find something exquisite and beautiful that we think she would want, we buy it. And this is a perfect example of something that we know that she would love.
She's gonna dig it.
Yeah, she will dig
Great.
it.
Yeah. From there, we went to downstairs that has thousands and thousands of things.
I guess what you could describe as sort of housewares. And gifts. If there's such a thing, the third floor was like the UN of gifts.
Afterwards, we went to the second building, Building 5, and we started on the fourth floor, which was textiles.
That was probably one of the moments that I think that both Chris and I will treasure.
I know, I love the drawing, I like the bigger spaces.
And then there's this under here.
That's really pretty too. Just pretend. Pretend.
I just wanted to see what this thing is here, but that's maybe too red.
I love this.
This is good.
怎么料理你信息发不出来吗？
Yeah, exactly. These are really special. Oh. Got it? Perfect. Voila. Good deal.
Yeah, good deal.
And forever.
How amazing. This afternoon, we got the chance to run into this amazing textile shop run by Mr. Wu.
With incredible fabrics, like really special. So we're excited. We found 6 of them, and we
Yes.
probably could have found 100 if we had another day.
All printed in the Jiangsu province. Prints should always be happy and should signify some celebration, and to find these sort of traditional
Celebratory, yeah.
celebratory wedding prints
Right.
is something that we love, because especially when you wear a print, it should be a joy.
Yeah.
And today, this was an absolute joy to find these fabrics.
My first pick actually was this fabric. It's just, I mean, I'm a sucker for just sort of 40s, kind of beautiful 40s floral. You know, my first thought was just to have this as a dress or a shirt, but really a dress, I think. I mean, we're always looking for things that have sort of color, but have more of a sort of almost like an era about them. And then this is just a beautiful
dragon print is
dragon
really
print,
beautiful.
which, you know, we just don't have privy to this.
Yeah.
I mean, this is spectacular. We look for them all the time, not exaggerate. This is such a beautiful print.
Show them the blueprint, because I think
This
we're
is
sharing
also,
that.
yeah, we're going to share this because this could be a great men's piece, but it's also like a beautiful, if you can
Yeah.
see the border. It's just
Imagine a long dress
just
in
a
that.
beautiful dress. And a beautiful men's shirt.
Yeah.
I think
See,
it's
I chose this fabric to
amazing.
be more like a summer men's shirt, and very often in men's shirts, because there's collars and facings,
Right.
We like to use some contrast to them to make them look richer,
Right.
to make them feel more like the life of the print.
We can
For me, for men's
switch.
shirt, and then what I'll do is if she lets me,
Yes,
so I'll steal
have a
some of
little
this
bit.
fabric, and then what we'll do is this will be the inside, the collar, the facing of the shirt.
Right.
So it's a fantastic.
right.
It's just a fantastic combination.
Yes, and then I could use this as a facing for a dress.
Yes.
In the cuff, when you turn it back, could be this, which
Yeah.
also, if I can steal it.
Yes, yes. We're good at loaning.
Yes, it's beautiful.
And then this one, I think this is the one that we're both going to fight over,
Yes,
because one of the things is that it is kind of the perfect sort of, like a little bit hippie, summer of love
Yeah.
type feeling. So this could be a shirt. This could be a caftan, which we love.
The caftan would be amazing.
This one's really great too, only because for the same reason is that we very often look for bright prints, especially maybe come later on as the summer progresses,
Right.
and maybe we're using colors that are a bit darker, to have these as linings, and again, to use something more like traditional wedding prints, just have a very happy connotation. And again, it's something that we don't find. So this has been an
Yes.
amazing afternoon.
Yeah.
After that, we went to the bedding floor. Again, miles and piles of blankets and sheets and pillowcases.
We started looking first at blankets, and then we were looking at comforter covers, and then there are these sheet sets. They have sheets and pillowcase sets, which is very kind of old school, which I like.
So I think there's virtually something for everyone, but more than anything, it felt like a big, cushy bed.
Every day here in Yiwu City, China, surpasses the day before. Today was no exception.
And we started by entering the amazing, beautiful ancient arches of Qingyang Liu village. It was truly impressive in its ancient beauty.
It's a beautiful archway that's covered with carvings and dragons.
But once we passed the gates, what we found was the world of tomorrow today.
China's #1 e-commerce village. It's a village in the sense that it's really not a really huge amount of people, but it's that small amount of people do a huge amount of things.
And the other students is doing the sailing stuff.
We first visited Mr. Wang, who runs a school.
Where he works with eBay, Amazon, and a new phone app called Wish. You can use up your phone and really order anything you can order off your computer. There's 4 or 5 students working there, posting things, watching them sell. The students stay for about a year, and after a year you really have a good handle on how to sell things, how to sort of really approach it, what the language of everything is, and really the daily routine of that.
It was interesting to talk to Mr. Wang, and the great thing that he told me was his amount of pride of the fact that he has online a 99.5 approval rating, which is kind of unheard of in the age of snarkiness and people who cannot like something. And he said he won't be happy until he hits the point of 100%.
We just kind of happened on a place down the road that looked like a supermarket, but it had no market.
And it happened to be an e-commerce market.
This is the first supermarket I've ever been to that really is super in the way that it doesn't have product. And so
There's not tons of aisles.
but there's a great screen which you can flip through and kind of decide what it is you might want.
But I think the wide variety of things in this small little space really talks to the future about how we shop and the things we
Right.
need. The fact that you could buy a bottle of wine,
Yeah.
you could buy a fish that was
Will be caught for you.
caught for you,
Will be caught.
and delivered.
Right.
If there's any kind of problem,
You can decide.
you could. There's a
Yeah.
physical place that you can bring it back or deal with it. So
Yeah.
I really think that again, it's a situation where we look at the word
Absolutely.
village, and
It's
it
not-
maybe means
it's-
something else.
I
It's
know.
really
I think
amazing.
this was an amazing example of like sort of the future. Tomorrowland.
Yeah, today.
Yeah. As we walked a little bit further, there's a series of buildings that really look
almost like apartment buildings. And we were privy to go into one of the working complexes. We go up the stairs and you think what would be, say, an apartment is actually a photo studio where a glass is being shot.
The images of the product is then photographed.
In the very next room, we were watching designers do graphics.
It's edited, art directed, produced, and becomes the product that you would see on the website.
And then Mr. Ma was explaining to us that not only do they do that there, but then took us to the next room, which you realize then they're selling it. He has 1,200 orders per day, which is really monumental when you think about how much that is.
They're even monitoring it and has created a system to give the consumer the best possible value immediately. There is no one that undersells him.
So in other words, if a teapot is 30, well, he's able on a graph to watch that it's maybe his neighbor and someone else is selling it for 26. Well, he can now offer it to you for 25, which I don't think anybody has that amount of control or that live aspect of your business. So you realize that is really kind of opening a new door, so to speak.
He even let us go downstairs where they pack shipping products.
This is probably 6 or 7 guys building boxes. That's the shipping department. Right next door, they're putting labels on them. And we did a drop test.
Yeah.
Okay, oh my God.
Whoa, okay, my turn.
Really good. It's so much
We're
fun.
giving it the real test,
I
okay?
know.
This is the UPS test.
Yes.
Stress test. Wow.
And it's all good. Perfect.
Wow,
Wow.
perfect.
It's beautiful.
Ready, and it's ready, right?
Yep.
You can just put this right there, and you are done.
And probably half a block away is DHL. It's all the express services. So everything from the photograph to the actually posting to putting it in a box and then getting it on a truck is in one place, which really blew our minds.
He told us that his phone app now is becoming an even larger business. And his projection last year, for instance, he made $4 million. And his goal next year will be $8 million. And this is with just 30 employees that do everything in this one house. So really, when we think about a village, and sometimes we think about it in a small way, his village is actually a global village.
From there, we drove to
Futan Ancient Village. And this was the most beautiful thing that I think I've seen during this entire trip. This town, which is over 3,000 years old.
And you know, there was something that we were really hoping to see because it's something you sort of grow up envisioning, that China is not only the modernist, advanced place, but you also hold dear that idea of its history.
And when we arrived at the restaurant, this beautiful building that we were told was 150 years old is now, in the last year, become this fantastic restaurant. We were able to go into the kitchen and watch the chefs cook these amazing meals.
And there were 10 or 12 young chefs in the kitchen.
It's like a piece of art to watch them use the materials that were so incredibly fresh. Directly into the kitchen they came.
With the live fish that are flopping.
It's
really
beautiful.
It's such a treat to be here. This is going to be, I can't wait for this meal.
Wow.
Beautiful. Wow.
这道菜叫蒸焗老南瓜，它是用我们本地的2头乌的猪油熬制出来的，这是我们佛堂最古老的一种做法。
It's really caramelized with the pork. It's oh, it's amazing.
But it still remains amazingly light. although it's a vegetable, it has the perfume of the pork. With every bite, you get another layer of texture and flavor.
这道菜是我们本地的野生土鸡鱼。
Oh, delicious. Like scallions or there's a little heat with some delicious, really nice, like chilies.
I think what strikes me too is just, well, we watched how fresh the fish was when it arrived into the kitchen, but you really do get a sense of the river a little bit, but it's just absolutely
It's super fresh.
light. I think what is really impressive too is the sauce.
I know, it's really rich. It has like layers of flavor.
Again, it's typical that, you know, use the fresh ingredients combined with, I guess, what is a local soy sauce, has this very, very rich
layered.
but light flavor. It's really out of this world. It's quite remarkable.
Plastic, wow. That looks incredible.
它的取材是我们金华全世界有名的两头乌。它的肉质虽然是猪肉，但是它油而不腻，再加上我们配上我们义乌本地的土馒头，
Oh, fantastic.
是我们这边当地结婚不可少的一道菜。
We watched him make it, so I'm super excited to try this. I'm gonna press it.
I can understand how it's a signature dish. It is so delicious.
The pork is amazing.
I've never had pork so tender, so juicy.
I don't know that we can have it where we're from, but it's really delicious.
Right, this is one of those things you don't try at home. You just come to Yiwu, right?
It's really the best pork sandwich I've had. From there, we went and watched a beautiful Chinese opera, watching this woman not only sing, but also play like a drum and maybe a stick or percussion-ish instrument, which was so beautiful. And she's, you know, doing that sort of Chinese call of the opera.
And it was a feast for every sense. My nose, my taste buds, we were all very happy by it. After that, because we were so full, we found ourselves walking the streets of Futan Village.
And we got to go to a beautiful wood carving store and buy some beautiful wood spoons to cook with.
The streets themselves were so filled with just the most beautiful colors. I think you want to take home everything from those shops because they just speak so much to the history of China and the beauty and the poetry. One of the things that we found today was that we got a sense to see the China that has been built on centuries of history and culture, and at the same time we got to see China today and the things that mean something today in a world of global consumerism.
Wow, another great day. We started today on Foreigner Street, which is an incredible group of streets here. It's kind of a little bit like the UN.
There's over 85 countries and languages in this quarter. First thing that we saw was a family that was stripping their bamboo. It's the first bamboo of the season. So the freshness and the idea of the family getting together to do this was really a fun thing to watch and experience.
We passing by a huge halal where they were getting all the grilled meats ready and the vegetables. The smokers sort of lined up getting ready to make lunch.
Later, after we turned a corner, we found Middle Eastern men having a coffee and maybe smoking their hookah.
And then right next door we had
Gelato, Italian gelato. when we stopped at the barbecue chicken place, and I remembered that smell, and I realized it's the smell of French roasted chicken.
And then we watched the money changers. They were these men changing money. There were stores offering Muslim clothes that were quite traditional.
I think we were most taken by the fact that all of these little individual places really represent the best of their culture. I could spend the day being there, and it's a little trip around the world in just one afternoon.
Tonight we went to the night market. As you walk, sort of approaching the stalls, it is one stall after another that is so captivating, and it's every different type of food you could want. It's fish, it's skewered, it's meat, it's vegetables, it's stir fry, it's eggs.
If you come to this night market often, you really should consider buying 2 garments, one size bigger for all the food you're going to eat here. We first stopped and had the most delicious wonton soup that was cooked by a really sweet woman who
Made our soup from scratch.
you could see her warmth. It was like going to her home to have a lovely meal.
So this is a homemade wonton we just saw her make. It's a pork wonton.
That's really delicious. It's really super spicy and delicious.
Oh my God, this is so delicious. It's really off the hook.
Like all things that come from their home, this is probably the best wonton I've ever had. We got to try
Sort of green onion pizza, which I wish we had back in the States because I've never had anything quite like this.
I just imagine eating that just like I would have eat a pizza breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The smell smelled like a really great, delicious Italian pizza. But we're in Asia, so we're gonna try this
It's
onion
smells
cake.
amazing.
It smells
Okay.
amazing.
Oh my God, it's crazy.
Mamma mia, that's
It's
some pizza.
fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Yum. We even got to have waffles that are shaped in the size of eggs. Well,
So
it's
here
going to
I go.
answer the question, chicken or egg?
The answer is both. Chicken
Okay.
and egg. Oh my God.
Wow.
I mean, you could sort of call this fast food in a way, but it's so
I know,
delicious.
I know.
It's really eggy and
Oh.
I know, and the presentation is amazing. The other meal we had was fried rice. It looked like there was maybe a husband and wife team that were totally enjoying the theater of cooking and watching them do this with the egg and then the bacon and then the rice, and they like kind of stir-fried it in such a way, it was mesmerizing to watch them. But it was definitely like a he and she theater food act. Wow, I can't wait to taste this. It's amazing.
It's your turn. Oh my gosh.
Is this so good?
It's so good.
This has
One
got
of the amazing things about street food here is that not only is it delicious, but it's theater. We had so much fun watching, right?
this is so good, so delicious.
What I walk away from tonight is I'll have this tremendous memory of not only these amazing new tastes that I discovered, but the idea that I got to have food amongst the people that make it.
I am so full, but I know in about an hour I'll be hungry again, and I'll wish I got more.
Today we did something a little bit different. We took a drive out into the country.
driving along this tree-lined country road.
Tons of greenery. We definitely knew we were going to rural, but we didn't know really how serene and beautiful it was. So after driving for probably a good half an hour or more, we come upon this beautiful long road and take the road, and I could sort of see the outline of temple.
We arrived at this beautiful temple. It's called the Shengling Temple.
This is our first Chinese temple, so we're really excited to see this.
And when I first entered the temple, I was struck by this enormous, beautiful statue of the Happy Buddha.
Happy, beautiful gold Buddha.
It made me feel my pressure go down. I think especially here in Yiwu, where so much of what's happening is about the new Silk Road, the things that are growing and happening that enter into the whole world, suddenly I was at peace with myself. And that was a beautiful feeling.
It's really like the most beautiful, happy vibe you could get walking into a room. And there's an incredible altar in front of him. And on either side of him, in four corners of the room, are these giant, beautiful carvings. And it represents
the gods of four directions: east, west, north, and south. They were colorful and really were a delight to see.
We sort of stood there a moment in really quiet serenity and just appreciating it. And then when you're looking at the building, when you're looking at it, you realize that there is
another temple, which was a temple that was built in honor of the master who built the temple.
He's so impressive. There's a grandeur about him that when you walk in, he owns it. This has more sort of places for you to worship and these beautiful kneeling benches for you to pray. In this room also, there are carvings and there are more things for you to look at.
I thought that I had been transposed into a whole different heaven, and yet it was so peaceful and calm. Yet again, there was another room. And this building housed the large Buddha, the Shakyamuni Buddha. And this, by far, was the most spectacular.
Wow.
This was the most gorgeous trio of gold statues that were so fantastic. And again, the scale, I don't know, I'm not good with height and girth, but they filled the room, they filled the temple.
I've never seen a sculpture that large in the size of that room. The beauty of the sculpture was to see the backdrop of the beautiful hand woodwork that surrounded this golden deity. It was the most incredible feat of architecture and art craftsmanship. The Shakyamuni Buddha.
It's surrounded by his 18 immortals. It was really blew my mind. It's so spectacular. It is a knockout and it's gold, it's so lush.
To be in the room was to only dwarf my personality and to realize to be humble and to feel the nature of Buddha in myself.
This afternoon we drove to a factory that is, I think it's only 12 years old, called
the Burkham Industries building. Walking into the Burkham showroom, one of the things you're impressed with is the variety of shirts.
They do men's shirts and they do women's shirts as well.
It's like an encyclopedia. There's stripes, checks, flannels, solids, dress shirts, sports shirts.
Which are fantastically made. They're just beautiful. It's all those details that you look for in a shirt.
Inside of the shirt is built in a way that's called a French seam. And what it is it holds the tailor and the shirt together. If you notice that this is double stitched here and it's folded over, so what'll happen is the more and more you wash the shirt, this will hold the line of the tailoring and keep your shirt crisp. So it's a really great value, but it's also the mark of a really well-made shirt. The archetype of men's shirts actually come from Brooks Brothers in the 1860s, and I don't think that they ever realized that they were going to design a shirt that would become a uniform for a man around the world. And all of these details, which are on these shirts, have a reason and a life. And what's really great is that it's great to come today to see the mark of a really beautiful shirt. Notice that even on the plackets, there's absolutely total clean sewing. The buttonholes, the buttonholes are done perfectly, because those are all the things that maybe, at first you don't notice when you take your shirt home from the shop, but when you get home and you launder them, they start to flutter and pucker, and all of a sudden it's a shirt that's no longer your favorite. These are all details, and especially when you look at how clean the sewing is, that will always be there, and when the shirt is ready and clean and ironed and pressed for you, you're going to be the best man in the room. And we always love when it's done with a little bit of humor, and this is a very good instance here, where if you notice the plackets are all in this gingham fabric, but what's really fun is the surprise of the side. And this little area here is called a keep. And what it was originally designed for is that if your shirt was tucked into your pants, sometimes made out of a different fabric or sewn in a different direction, and basically the friction would hold the shirt from untucking. And what I think is really great is looking at the shirt today, that they took what's a tool of the shirt and turned it into a humorous design.
The biggest treat for us was to go through the factory.
So it's really interesting though, it's like he's got the lone yellow shirt.
I know, that's funny, right? Whoa.
What?
That was amazing. That was amazing. This is so much fun. I can't get over it. This is such a cool thing.
I know. Talk about Willy Wonka. This is probably the most impressive shirt manufacturing I've seen in my life. For anyone that buys this shirt, you don't necessarily realize just how many parts it takes to make a shirt and what various parts of the shirts mean. We got a tour from soup to nuts. It started with watching the sorters sort the shirts that were going on to the Eaton hanging system from Sweden.
I mean, look at how cool that is.
I know.
They have a CAD program to do all the cutting. Then from there, they do all the assemblage. So they have the collars, the cuffs, the body.
That we're using Juki sewing machines. And Juki sewing machines are sort of the Mercedes-Benz of sewing machines. So it was a pleasure to see these amazing 21st century machines working with the hands. It's an elaborate process, but still what it belies is the beauty of the craftsmanship that is involved in the shirt that you probably want to wear or will wear in the future. No one really understands the art there is to making shirts, and yet everyone understands when you wear a good shirt, you have them for years and you keep them for years.
And then afterwards, to me, that's just such a beautiful process to watch the pressers. I'm really lazy when it comes to pressing, but this made me really want to go home and iron.
Pressing is such an important part of any finished garment, and it was so much fun to watch the art of these guys move with absolute bullet train speed, pressing these shirts to absolute perfection. We all know that there's nothing better than a perfectly pressed, clean white shirt, and this is the place that I found that very thing.
And then from there, we watch them folding. Especially a men's shirt, there is so much cardboard and pins.
So when you get a shirt for Christmas and you get a gift,
Unpack it slowly.
and you realize there's pins in there, now you know why, and you get a chance to see the man who puts them in.
Then there's a conveyor belt that put all the shirts in, and then right at the end is packaging.
Typically, factories are full of thread and chaos. We were so inspired by the fact that in this pristine factory that today we watched, shirts that are being made for European market, there was an air of calm, much like the temple, but at the same time, you realize that this business is completely both handcrafted and comes from the 21st century.
It was a perfect sort of juxtaposition of seeing ancient China and just the beautiful history of things, and sort of modernist, amazing China, seeing things that are made state of the art. So I'm impressed. We're going to talk a little bit about a new railway system that it just came into place in Yiwu City about 6 months ago. And this new railroad is really referred to as the new Silk Road.
One of the things that we discussed with Mr. Ma about doing his e-commerce business is that he feels like his market in China here is soon to hit a peak. One of the things that will help him is the China-Europe block train. This freight train travels all the way from Yiwu to Madrid. And it goes via Russia, Poland, Germany, France, and then to Spain. It'll not only deliveries of goods to Southeast Asia, but also Europe and parts of Africa.
You kind of get the idea when you're here of this is sort of feeding the hungry countries of the world in commodities, so you realize it can only get bigger because everybody is hungry.
This train will be the conduit to really develop and grow the new Silk Road.
This will be a new open door for everyone.
We will be leaving tomorrow, and as our trip comes to an end, we're kind of sad because this has been truly exciting. As you look around and you see the tremendous growth of all the buildings that are all around you here, what now we connect with is that those buildings will be filled with people like Mr. Ma, Mr. Wu. All of them are people who have tremendous potential to be in our houses, in the products that we use every day.
Being around sort of ancient part of this country and being around the really modern, new, fresh, so much business going on here, it kind of blows the top of your head off. I really feel like that was a giant eye-opener for us.
I think I came with a very open mind, but you know what? My mind was open so much more than I could possibly imagine, and just as I think that we certainly take so much of what we do for granted, it makes me treasure just this trip all the more.